So we often overlook challenges faced by students in higher learning institutions who live off campus. These students carry an additional burden that can significantly impact their academic performance and overall well-being, from the daily grind of long commutes to the struggle of finding a conducive study environment at home. These issues present a unique set of obstacles. Joining us in studio to further talk about the consequences of these challenges and shed light on the resilience and resourcefulness of off-campus students, we have the founder and CEO of HEAL SA, Mpadi Makgalo. Welcome to the program. It's great to have you.
Thank you for having me, and good morning to your viewers.
You know what, students that live off campus and their struggles that they face on the day-to-day, I usually downplay.
Yes.
Bring us up to speed on some of these challenges and what they are.
The challenges are dire. I think first of all, let's start talking about the stats. We know currently over 30% of students that are in varsity, they have thought about suicide. We know that 6.9 have of students in university campuses have attempted suicide, and annually we see about 14,000 students dying of suicide. So we know that the problems are dire, and the two most factors, we know that it's financial situation, the financial situation, but also the stress of academics, just being worried whether or not I'm going to make it, and just the transition of moving from maybe my village to now you're in the big city, and you have to adjust to a lot of conditions that you were not privy to prior to coming to universities.
And
yes.
Moving from your village to come now to maybe a big city,
yes.
for instance, and then on top of that, you still have to be traveling from campus to get to the place
yes.
that you stay at. Talk to us about what role does a suitable environment for a student play in ensuring that they're able to perform at their optimal best?
I think, first of all, we have to have services that talk to these students' needs, mental health needs. I think it's very important that not only we just look at transport, but I think it should be an integral, the services that we provide for students, they should be very integral in terms of looking at their mental health. I think we are very clear about our, physical health, we clear about, medical, are you okay? But nobody talks about your mental health. And I think it's not, we don't only see that in university, but we see that in our homes. So it's something that we have to make it part and parcel of how we live as South Africans. And it starts with students. And that's where we as HEAL SA are putting a lot of effort to say, how can we support students? And how can we make it accessible and also free? Because one of the main issues or main reason that students are not seeking for this type of help is the fact that it is expensive and it's not accessible.
And speaking of support, do you think they also get enough support from these institutions of higher learning? For instance, I'd assume that it also starts with them to say, look, we are willing to assist in your plight.
Of course, I think they do, but it's not enough. And the reason that we have organizations such as HEAL SA is that we are here to help. We know the need is dire, and we understand the service that we provide. It's a dedicated line that we have for off-campus students. So you can call us from your home, you can text us. We are available. We have a qualified therapist that can talk to you. So the services are there, but they are not adequate.
And what do the numbers say? Does this struggle affect only a certain number of the demographic? And if you can perhaps just bring us up to speed with those numbers.
We know for a fact now, and this is through a research that we know that students from villages, they struggle in terms of from rural areas. They struggle in terms of transitioning or adapting into university life. We know that the LGBTQI student communities also struggle. We know that the first generation students that walk into the doors of campuses, they really do struggle in terms of adjusting and being able to mentally deal with the everyday challenges of being a student.
And let's talk about the technological advancements that we're seeing and what role can they play in mitigating all of this?
I think, first of all, stigma. As you know, most students do not access the services that are provided by the university themselves. But we know that if I am on my phone and I am chatting with you and nobody knows that who and what am I talking about, but I'm getting help at the same time. And also I can do it in the comfort of my own room, and I don't have to be seen walking into a therapist or a counselor's office. I think that for me, it's the big advantage of having a digital support, mental health support system like we have at Heal South Africa.
Which is also a very important, and you just touched on that aspect of how some of these institutions also have your so-called wellness centers, where students are able to go and seek help. But like you said, most of them are not in the position to actually openly go there and seek help. How do we move about starting and mobilizing conversations around breaking that stigma that you spoke about just now?
And I think it starts within our own communities. I think we have to dismantle the stigma we have around mental health. I think if you look at the perceptions that we have about mental health, it's once one declares or talks about their mental health, they see him as being weak and something's wrong with you, and we don't make it something that is part and parcel of our being. As human beings, that we, as much as we take care of our physical well-being, our mental well-being is also equally important. So I think the conversations need to be had, but what we do as Heal South Africa, we go to communities and we train communities around mental health literacy. We go to schools. We teach both learners and educators around mental health literacy, and part of our aim is to make sure that mental health is accessible, it's acceptable, and it's available to all at free of charge. Yes.
And Mpadi, it would be important to know when you've reached your wit's end, right? At the time that you identify and say, listen, I'm overwhelmed right now. How do I go about getting help? And when does one know when they've reached that point?
And I think for me, one might not even know, but it's very important that as a community, we're able to assess to say, you know what, I can see Mpadi's not behaving the way that I'm used to. So it's because sometimes I might be overwhelmed and I don't even know. So for me, it's a community response that I also, as a friend, I should be able to say, but I didn't see you in the morning for breakfast. I didn't see you. You're no longer partaking in your everyday activity. You're not engaged in the way that you're used to be engaged, and for us to intervene. But I think for you as a person going through that, when you see yourself not, you're not following your routine, like certain things are not, happening the way that you're used to them happening, or you just, you don't want to get out of bed, and you feel gloom most of the time. Those are the things that you look into.
So Mpadi Makgalo, CEO of Heal SA, thank you so much for your time and insights this morning on the agenda.
Thank you for having me. I truly appreciate it.